Thank you, Mayor Sabo, members of council. I'm going to talk about the way that I assess personal property and the increase in values of vehicles for the year 2021. First of all, it's the objective of my office to assess all property in a professional and uniform and equitable manner. And we do that based on state code. The code requires that the method that we assess has to be uniform within each category, and that it's reasonably expected to determine the actual fair market value of the property. So automobiles, motorcycles, trailers, boats are assessed at 100% of the clean retail value in the NADA appraisal guide. That's the book that we use. And then the current tax rate of $3.08 per 100 is applied to that assessed value. If there's something that's not listed in the NADA guide, then we use 100% of the purchase price as shown on the DMV. And once you do take 100% of the purchase price, then each year after that, we'll reduce that down by 10% until it gets down to a minimum value. And we do have a minimum value of $400. Once something comes out of the book, it goes to that minimum value also, and it stays there as long as the person owns that. It doesn't ever just drop completely, but it goes to that minimum value. Then once we do that, we also have the PPTRA, the personal property discount, that's applied to the personal property that meets the qualifications to receive the discount. Not all property does, but we do apply it to the property that meets the qualifications. Every year I send my vehicle file to NADA, and they place a value on each vehicle using the VIN number. And the values are always from the January 1st book, because January 1 is the assessment date, and that's the only book we get. We don't use each month. Historically, vehicle values have tended to depreciate each year. Normally they do that, but 2021 was different. COVID-19 altered the trends of the automobile industry, and it wasn't just NADA values. All major vehicle valuation services indicated increases in values between January 2020 and January 2021. And there were several things events that took place that played a part in that increase. One of them was in March of 2020, the Federal Reserve cut the interest rate to near zero. And those low interest rates on both new and used vehicles allowed people to purchase vehicles sooner than they normally would have. And there was a strong demand, and that meant higher prices. And then another thing was that COVID-19 closed a lot of the automobile manufacturing plants, and they did that in order to produce ventilators and the PPE equipment, and then that further reduced the inventory of vehicles. And then also your large fleet companies, your rental agencies and car services, they held on to their vehicles and didn't turn over their inventory, and that added to a shortage of used vehicles. Also, like now you're hearing about, there's a shortage in the microchips that they need for the new car production, and with the reduced production of new vehicles, there's a higher demand for used vehicles, which has increased their cost. According to data, the average transaction price of a used car went up 21% from 2020 to 2021. And due to those events, taxpayers did see an increase in values of their vehicles for personal property tax. Another factor that people may not realize that played a part in the increased tax was the personal property discount. The rate actually decreased for 2021. In 2020, I calculated a discount of 48.5% on qualifying vehicles. For 2021, that percentage decreased to 45%. The city actually receives $545,479.17 from the state each year to cover the personal property discount. That amount was established in 2005, and it hasn't changed. It stays the same. Every locality gets an amount based on what was going on in 2005, and it stays that way going through. And you know, the percentage, it's not going to, each year you have to calculate. I have to take that figure, and then I have to look at the value of all the vehicles that I'm going to assess, and that determines the percentage. So when you have vehicles going up in value, then that uses up more of my discount money, and so my discount's going to go down. So when your discount goes down, you pay higher tax also. And I'm also hearing that we're still going to be seeing this trend going into 2022. So vehicles are probably going to continue to be higher for the new year. Are there any questions about that?
I appreciate that, Cathy. I know I've had several questions about how can the value of the used vehicle go up. And that's a good explanation.
We did try to get that information out before, early on. The city manager, let's put it on the city website, and we had it posted on the door in different places. And actually, to be honest, we didn't have a lot of question in our office about it. And so I'm hoping that's the reason that helped. I mean, we did have some, but, not overwhelming. And if you'll give me just a few more minutes, I was going to also give you a heads up about real estate assessments. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
As you know, we're going to begin a general reassessment of all real property beginning July of 2022. And from what we are seeing right now regarding real estate transfers, we're probably going to see an increase in our real estate values beginning fiscal year 23-24 as of July 1 of 23. Looking at transfers right now from July 1 of 21 through October 31st of 21, we're seeing homes that are selling for way over the assessed value. Out of 50 transfers that I just looked at, 39 of those sold over assessed value. And just for instance, you have a house on Jackson Street assessed at $71,000, sold for $97,700. A house on Rockbridge assessed at $51,100, sold for $80,200. You've got a house on Magazine assessed at $34,400. It just sold for $120,000.
Say that again.
Magazine Avenue, a house assessed at $34,400, sold for $120,200.
That neighborhood's taxes are going up on it.
Well, it's going to be all over. And I mean, even at looking at those neighborhoods, your other neighborhoods like Fairlawn, assessed at $139,900, sold for $190,000. Hamilton Drive, $174,600, sold for $239,000. And we're seeing a lot of it on Jackson Street, but it's trending that way. And houses are actually selling within hours of being listed, and for well over the assessed value. So during the general reassessment, they have to do a sales study, and they're going to look at that information, and it's going to show that our properties are undervalued. Our ratio for 2021 was 89.5%, and that determines like how much public service money we receive. Looking at just those transfers that I was talking about just now, our ratio would right now be 75%. So if this continues for the next year of 2022-23 before the reassessment, we're going to probably take a hit in public service money if our ratio goes down that low or lower. So it's just something, to think about, because if the market holds out like it is, we're probably going to see an increase in values. And it's not just in certain neighborhoods, it looks like it's going to be all over. So I just wanted to...
So when those assessments are made, the only way you can ask for a lower assessment is appeal to the Board of Equalization? Well,
once the reassessment is completed, they start July 1 of 2022, they have to be finished by June 30th of 2023. They have a year to complete it. Sometime in May of 2023, they'll send out notices telling you your new assessment, and you can actually come in and talk to the people that did the assessment at that point. And that's probably, you know, a good time to come in and talk to somebody, because they actually went out and looked at your property and put the assessment on it. So you can talk to them first. If you don't get any satisfaction there, then a Board of Equalization has to be set as of July 1 of 23, and then there'll be hearings for that also. We don't have an ordinance in the city to change real estate assessments. Like July 1 is our assessment date. So everything, whatever happens, is assessed as of July 1. So we look at building permits for the whole year, whatever's done on July 1. We don't have an ordinance to do things as they happen. We don't add things until July 1, and we don't take things off if there's a demo or something like that until July 1.
Any questions? Appreciate you coming and going through that.
You're welcome. Thank you.